I'll say November 2021 budget was not great. Honestly, it was an epic fail. A lot of it due to some subscriptions that we didn't budget for this month, as well as Amazon and Target getting the best of us. So today I'm breaking it down to show you our budget from November 2021. Hey guys, I'm Marissa and welcome back to my channel. Here on my channel we talk about life and money and how you can enjoy life while still accomplishing financial goals through the use of a budget. So if that sounds like something interesting to you, scroll down and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any new videos. Today I'm sharing with you our November 2021 household budget, and like I said, it was not great. I'm definitely not proud of this and I'm embarrassed to share this on the internet, but I always share my budget, and so I'm gonna be honest with you and share the good and the bad. But before we get into it, I want to let you know the budget template that I'm using is one that you can get yourself on my shop. I will have a link to that down in the description box down below. It's an instant download, works in Excel, Google Sheets, all the things. And then I also have a course called the Budget Breakdown course, which is everything you need to know about budgeting. We walk through how to create your budget, how to manage it and keep going, and some tips for your budgeting journey along the way. It's a video course, very affordable. And while this month's budget didn't go super great, we really try and stick to our budget and have found so much value in budgeting over the last 6.5 years of our marriage. So I created this course with everything we've learned about budgeting thus far. So I'll have a link to that course down in the description box as well. It's really affordable, only $37, and you get a free download of my budget template with the course. So you can check that out there. So before we hop into this budget, I'll give you a little bit of backstory for my family. I live in Portland, Oregon with my husband Jacob and our 18-month-old son named Peter. And here's how our budget went this month. Oh, and I forgot, I'm also pregnant with baby number 2 due in June. So the first thing we have here is our income section. So this is all the income that we brought in this month. We use a zero-based budget, which means all of our income equals all of our money out. So the income that we brought in this month includes my husband Jacob's income. He works in product marketing, fully remote as a salaried job. And then I make money from my business here on YouTube. So everything that I do here, I do make money from. I am going to be having a video soon in the next month of all of my business income for the year. So if you are curious about that, stay tuned. I'll share all the details of that coming up. But I do block this out because of privacy for Jacob's employer and everything. So I do have that blocked out. But I work here for YouTube stuff, and then I'm also with my son on the times when I'm not doing YouTube. So now we have this other line item, which is our child tax credit. Some of you may be getting that as well, $300. So we ended up with $7,214.42 for actual household income this month. And like I said, we have a zero-based budget, so all of our expenses, debt, and savings should equal our income. So now to show you where every dollar was spent. So this next section that we have here are the expenses. The first line item that I have here is our tithe. And as you can see, I have some things blocked out here. This is going to be new for budget going forward, and that is because I'm also blocking out what we're paying for daycare, which I'll talk about down below as well. So to keep the privacy for all of these, I'm just blocking those out. So we have our tithe. We are Christians and we believe in tithing and giving to our church and other organizations. So this is to our church. This is African New Life, where we support 2 children in Rwanda, and then we also support an additional missions organization. Next we have is our mortgage, which is at a standard $2,220.50, and that is made up of our principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Next we have is our HOA, which is at $121.46 each month, and that is the standard. Then we have water, sewer. It ended up being $93.31 this month, which is always right around $93 to $95. Then we have natural gas. This ended up being a little bit lower than budgeted at only $34.28, and this is what we use to heat our home for the winter time. Then we have trash. We pay trash every other month, so this month was not a trash month. And then we have electric. We budgeted $70, and we actually spent $54.28 on electricity this month. Then we have internet at $44.99, which is our standard for internet. And then we have our phones. We paid $115 this month for mine and Jacob's cell phones. And then insurance. This is car insurance, and we have a 2018 Highlander and a 2013 RAV4. So for the both of those, that was $110.16. Then we have life insurance at $52.89. We have a life insurance policy on myself and my husband Jacob as a term life insurance policy. Now getting into the good stuff, where we had a lot of differences and went overboard this month, which I'll get into. Okay, first off is groceries. We budgeted $450. We actually spent $543.80, which is so much on groceries. But one other thing that got lumped into here was our Costco membership renewal. I totally forgot about it, that this happens in November. So we paid our renewal. We have the executive membership. We have I think it's the executive, the more expensive one. So it was $120. So I lumped that in here. So I guess when you look at it, we didn't really actually go over on groceries. We just forgot to budget for our Costco membership, but I just put that in for food because that's typically what we spend Costco on. But I'm going to change that going forward, and I'll talk more about that when we get further into the budget. So that was definitely over this month. Next we have is eating out. We budgeted $150. We actually spent $166.20. So we are over by $16, and I'm actually pretty proud of us on this because I am pregnant and I have had a few cravings in the last month to be like, oh my gosh, this sounds so good, we need to go get it. So I'm actually surprised that we weren't too over on this because I did give in to some of those food cravings. Next we have is gas. We budgeted $100. We spent $123.38. So we ended up filling up one more time than usual. And then we have fun. We budgeted $50. We actually spent $94.40. We went to Disney on Ice this month. It was so much fun. We got to take Peter, and my parents came as well, and he actually really enjoyed it. I'm surprised he sat through the whole thing. He went from lap to lap the whole time, but he was very interested in the show and was clapping and blowing kisses to Princess Anna. It was really cute, and so glad that we went. So we did pay for that. Next we have is miscellaneous. And this is very over too. So we budgeted $100. We actually spent $197.10. And the reason why this is so over is because we had another subscription renewal, which I forgot to budget for, and that was for Disney Plus. We love Disney Plus, and I'll keep it. Obviously, we just went to Disney on Ice. So that was $80 for the year, and again, forgot to budget it, so I just put it into miscellaneous. I'll talk about the solution again to that in a little bit going forward because this was a nightmare this month. Next we have is daycare. So like I said, I have this blocked out, but we are now sending Peter to school 2 days a week, and I think it's so good for him, and he's going to be learning so much, and just having that interaction I think is so valuable for him and his age. So we weren't planning on paying this in November because we've been on a wait list, but at the beginning of November I got the email that we are off the wait list and that he could start at the end of the month. So we ended up having to pay for next month's costs, as well as paying some onboarding fees, registration fees and a deposit and those things. So this ended up being an unexpected expense, and ended up being a little bit larger because of paying for 1 month ahead and the little bit left of November and these additional fees. So this definitely really got us this month, and it was totally unexpected, but really glad that Peter is now doing that. I'm actually, as I'm filming this video, he's at school having lots of fun, and I think that it'll be so good for him. So he's going 2 days a week, and then I get to spend the rest of the time with him on those other days. And so that's something new for us, and that we will continue to budget for and have. We actually did sign up for a dependent care FSA with my husband's employer, so we will have that for the next year. But for the remainder of the year, we do just have to pay that out of pocket. So next we have is Peter. So we put $50 a month into a brokerage account that's in our names, but the point of it is that we're saving money every month to be able to gift to Peter at some point in his life, to help him with his first car or a down payment on a house or a wedding, those sorts of things. But we want to keep that in our names. And so we are putting $50 a month into that brokerage account. Next we have is college. We're also putting $200 a month into Peter's $529 college savings plan. So as you can see, our total expenses were $6,210.75. That was over by $253. So that was over. Okay, now moving into the savings section of the budget. So this is where we have our sinking funds, things that we're working on saving for, things that are upcoming, and you'll see the repercussions of of our overspending this month down here in the budget. So once I figured out that we were going to have to pay these costs for school with our budget, I ended up thinking that I was going to have to take money out of the emergency fund because of it. So I don't love that, but we have an emergency fund. This was an unexpected expense, the whole, schooling thing. We weren't expecting to pay it right away because we didn't know when we'd get off the wait list. We were on the wait list for like 6 months. But all that to say, we budgeted to take out $206. I actually took out $577 to make this a zero budget. So we now have $12,110 in the emergency fund. I want to get this up to $15, and I think we'll be able to do that next month. So we'll be good to go very soon, but really don't love that. But again, that's like, it's nice to have an emergency fund. Like, it's there for these unexpected types of expenses, and we'll replenish it. Next we have is Jacob. Jacob gets $250 of personal spending money each month, and so he spent it, and so he now has $163.94. Then we have my personal spending. I get $100 just because I feel like I don't like to spend as much money, and that's okay. But this month I actually did spend a lot. I spent $219.99, so I now have $34 in my account. Then we have extra giving. We put $50 a month into extra giving. It allows us to say yes to additional giving opportunities if they come up. So this month we spent $50 giving a gift card to someone, and so we now are at $626.05. Next we have is gifts. We put $50 a month into gifts for things like wedding, baby shower, birthday gifts, like for friends and family and things like that. So that's now at $165. Then we have clothing. We put $50 a month into a clothing fund. We actually spent money on that. We spent $150. Jacob got a new jacket, and I also got a new pair of jeans. I bought some maternity jeans that were on sale for Black Friday. So that was a cost. And so we are unfortunately now negative $80.72 in this account. And you'll see some other accounts are negative in here as well. So these are just other fails that I'm not proud of for our budget this month. But the way that we work our sinking funds is I take the grand total of all of our sinking funds here, and I take the total of that and keep it in one account. So I know that some people will have like an account for each sinking fund, and I don't operate it that way. So just because one account is negative doesn't mean like I have a bank account with a negative balance. It just takes the net total of all of the sinking funds. So next we have is vacation. We're putting $150 each month into vacation, and that is now at $1,745. Then we have Christmas. We've been putting $100 a month into Christmas, and honestly I think we've been overfunding Christmas, as you may see when we do the December budget report. But this month we spent $346 on Christmas gifts, and we only have a couple more things to get. So we now are at $100.85 in our Christmas budget. Our plan has always been to like save a little bit every month for Christmas, and this year we did kind of a lot. But then we also use our credit card cashback rewards for the year, and we will cash that out in December and use that towards Christmas. This year we'll have about $700 from credit card cashback rewards, and so I don't think that we're going to need to use all of that for Christmas. Next we have is medical. We put $25 a month into a medical account for medical related expenses. This month we spent $99 because I did the NIPT test for prenatal like blood work, and I ended up having to pay $99 for that test. So we actually are negative $225.65 in this account, and I just need to get logged into Jacob's FSA account because we have money in there, and we just didn't have everything put to the FSA. So I need to figure out if I can take money out of the FSA. Like, I have the receipts for the expenses that we spent on that were medical related and FSA approved, but we just forgot to use the FSA card. So see if I can transfer that money. So this shouldn't be this negative because I have money in the FSA that just I think needs to be transferred. Next we have is cord blood registry. We did cord blood banking with our son Peter when he was born, and it has an annual fee each year, so we are saving $31 a month for that annual fee. Then we have car maintenance. This was another fail. We budget $75 a month for car maintenance. This month we ended up having to pay the registration for our car, and that gets more expensive every time we do it. It was $250 this time, I think almost $250. And then we also did a couple other car maintenance things. So we spent $400 on car maintenance this month because of that registration. And this is where I just feel like November got us, because it was really a big combination of unexpected or not budgeted for subscription, like dues and subscriptions between Costco and Disney Plus and the car registration. And I know we're going to have to do registration again in like a few months. So it's a lot. So now we are negative $389.60 in the car maintenance fund. So I'm not sure, maybe next month I'll add more to this so that it won't be so negative, because that's honestly really bad. And what I plan to do now going forward is save money each month in a sinking fund for dues and subs, so that when all of these subscriptions roll around and somehow they all end up being in the same month, like those are the only subscriptions like dues and subs that we have, for some reason they all hit the same month. So I just want to plan better for that and have it not bust our budget like it did this month. So instead we're going to start a sinking fund for it, and we'll save money every month, and that way when it rolls around we'll have the money covered and it won't feel like this again. So that's why I love sinking funds, and we just need to add another one in here. So I'll start that in January and then have all of these expenses covered. I'll take the total of all of these subscriptions that we'll have for the year, divide it by 12, and save that amount each month, so then we'll be covered by the time that they roll around. Next we have is household maintenance. We put $400 a month into household maintenance. This month we've been finishing up our flooring project that we started in November, as well as we redid our downstairs bathroom. We got like a new vanity and stuff. So we spent $493 on that. So that's now at $589.19. Then we have household. We budgeted $100. This is for things like soap, detergent, paper towels, like toilet paper, those kinds of things. We especially spend money on this at like Costco. So we spent $164 on this. So we're now at actually negative 86, which don't love. Next we have is baby. We budgeted $100. I then actually put in $200 because we spent a lot. We spent $376 on baby related expenses. So this covers everything for Peter, like diapers, wipes, clothing, toys, like all these sorts of things. And with him starting school, there were a lot of items that I needed to purchase for him to have him keep at school, like, you know, get him a little backpack and a few other like clothing items, a new sleep sack, you know, a coat to keep at school. So I just had to get like a few things for him, actually a lot of things for him. So that definitely added up here. So this is where Amazon and Target really got the best of us, and I need to be more aware of that because it wasn't great. But we now are negative $227 in the baby fund. Not good. Okay. So we have a total of $1,003 that was put into sinking funds. So we now have a total of $7,214.42. I have this cell down here that calculates the difference between income and all of this money that went out. So that is zero, means we have a zero-based budget, and the budget is done for the month. So going forward, like I said, this month was really not great. And so things we want to implement would be that sinking fund for dues and subs that will start in January. And also in December, I just want to be a lot more cautious about Target and Amazon ordering, because it has just been so easy for us to do that. Like thinking back to when Jacob and I were newlyweds and we were in debt and we were like very, very strict on our budget, we would order something on Amazon maybe like once or twice a month, really, because we just like really restrict and limited our spending. But I feel like with lifestyle inflation and, you know, having a house and a kid, like it's just so easy to just be like, oh, let's, you know, purchase something on Amazon. And obviously some things are needed, but some things aren't. So this month, I just want to be more intentional about only purchasing things at like Target and Amazon that are true necessities. So I don't really believe in like a no spend month. I know a lot of people will do that, and if that's helpful for you, great. But I personally don't feel like restricting yourself for 1 month to say we're not spending any money at Target or Amazon is super helpful, because it can then like bounce back, and then it like, oh, if we didn't spend money on it in December, well then now I need to get like double the things in January. So instead I just want to be more conscientious about the spending, be more aware of it, and only spend money on things that we truly need at Target and Amazon this month. So that's my goal. And like I said, we did most of our Christmas shopping, basically all of it, so I shouldn't have a lot more of that going on. A lot of time for me to be in a store to then feel interested to buy something else. So that's my goal for December, and I'm putting it out there, and maybe maybe if you had some overages on Amazon and Target this month, maybe this is something that we could do together and try and limit that non-necessary spending. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, the next thing I want to show you is our net worth update, because now that we are debt free, it's fun to track our net worth and see how that is growing. Your net worth is made up of all of your assets, or the things that you own, minus your liabilities, or the things that you owe. So the first thing that we have here in our net worth is our retirement. So we now have $114,000 in retirement. It didn't grow a whole lot this month because this month was just very stagnant. There were some like high days and low days. So 114. Next we have is our house, and I tracked this through Zillow as just the basis, and that is at 546 this month. Next we have is our emergency fund, and like I said, that went down a little bit. We had to take money out of it for those daycare costs and things. Next we have our sinking funds, so that's now down to $2,600. And then Robinhood. We have a Robinhood account where I have some single stocks, obviously not a whole lot, but I think it's interesting to play around with and see, and also like to own, you know, little shares of like different companies that I like there. So I actually have a referral link for you to get a free stock with my link, and then I get a free stock too. So if you're interested, I'll have a link to that down below for Robinhood, but I now have $18.58 in my Robinhood account. Next we have is our Highlander. So that actually went up in value at $645. We bought this in October for a little less than $37, and it's now at $38,664. I tracked this through Kelley Blue Book. Next we have is our RAV4. This went down in value, $866. It's now at $18,039. So all of our assets or things that we own are $733,679. And then our liabilities or things that we owe are just our mortgage, which is $385,476. And so the difference there is $348,000-ish. So that is our overall net worth. It grew this month by $4,000. So I guess that's still encouraging of like, even though we had a not so great month with our budget, like our net worth still grew $4,000. So we'll take it. So I have this line that just calculates the house equity that we have. So we now have over $160,000 of equity, which takes the difference of our house value minus the mortgage. And then that equity percentage is now at 29.4%. I used to track this because I was waiting to get to 20% so that I could do, so that we could drop PMI, but we did that earlier this year. So I've just kind of just still been tracking it. And it's interesting to see if like, if we go to move, like here's how much equity we'd have in our house of what we could put like on another one. So that's just for fun. And the next thing that I have here is just Footnote assets, because these are things that we own, but I don't really want to count them in the net worth because they're not fully ours, but they are ours right now. Anyway, you'll see. So the first thing that we have here is our tax money. We've been setting aside money for taxes because I am self-employed. I do pay taxes, and I expect to have a tax bill coming up when we do file our taxes. So we put in enough throughout the year to make sure that we don't have any fees and things like that, and we work with a CPA, and I would highly suggest talking with a CPA if you're trying to figure this out for your taxes. But I'll let you share, we now have $23,000 in our tax account, and that's why I don't want to include this necessarily in our net worth, because I actually don't think that I'll have to pay all of this in taxes, but probably a large chunk of it. So I don't want to include it in the net worth now, and then like in March when I pay my taxes have our net worth drop so much. So just like a footnotes asset here, because this is money that we technically do have. Next we have is Peter's brokerage. Like I said, we're saving money for that brokerage account for Peter. It's in our names, but we don't plan to have it grow long term for us because we plan to gift it to him eventually. So right now that's up to $4,072. It actually lost $122 this month. Next we have is Peter's 529 for his college, and again this is definitely in Peter's name, so we now have $4,454 in that account as well. So we have a total Footnote assets of $31,500. So that was our entire net worth update for this month and our budget update. So man, it wasn't a great month, but I know that we can move forward and have a good December, and trying to be really more intentional about our Target and Amazon spending and implement that new sinking fund. So let me know in the comments below, how did your November budget go? And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
Life is a winding road,